Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Listen, all this week, we're going to be talking about building your house. Now, in this book, this is Getting Off the Carousel of Crazy, and that's the workbook that goes with it. And chapter 2 in the book, and I'm not doing a book thingy on this, but chapter 2 is, where is it? No, that's chapter 3. Chapter 2 is all about the little hinges swinging, big doors, but it's also in habits and what have you. And it's talking about the wise woman versus the foolish woman. That's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. And the reason that I want to do this is I want to give you a peek on what these books are about. You can get the Getting Off the Carousel of Crazy book with the workbook at savingdinner.com/crazy. I want to talk about this today because I feel like it is such a pivotal place. This is a starting place for all of us. You know, I talked last Saturday about, we had a lovely who has really having a hard time and really needed to get going, and like, tell me, and she's saying today, tell me where to start. What's the first best thing that I need to be doing? So I thought, you know, we just need to get back to basics sometimes. Sometimes we just need to say, okay, just stop. Can we just agree that today is day one for everyone? Can we do that? Can I get some pinkies up on that? Day one is today. Lucky you. Now, maybe you didn't start it off right. Maybe you started off really terribly and you just say, you know what? I don't like this. It's not good. It's not working out for me. And I started the day wrong. I ate all this garbage. I haven't exercised. I haven't done that. Can we agree that I don't care? It's day one. Pinkies up. Day one. There we go. There's my girls with pinkies up. In here, in this book, I talked in chapter 2, I talked about how this one particular Bible verse, this is what a long time ago when I was a young mom, hit me so hard. It was a cosmic 2x4, and it actually made me dizzy. I almost hyperventilated into a bag. And it was Proverbs 14:1. A wise woman builds her house, and a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. Now, understand, back then, I was in the midst of homeschooling 2 children, one with a learning disorder that I didn't understand or know about. I was in the midst of this, I was on the carousel of crazy with this crazy narcissistic spouse. Just leave it there. And a lot of substance abuse, a lot of garbage going on. All of that, and keeping a sweet and shiny face, and doing women's retreats in my church, and everything's just great, great. A wise woman builds her house, and a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. I was so busy keeping this facade in place so that nobody knew what was going on in my home, that my marriage was in its shambles, that I wasn't a successful homeschooler. I was really having a hard time with it, and that my house was a disaster. It was either uber clean or it was just like a bomb went off. There was no such thing as just having it the way you wanted it. There was no such thing. I either was crazy, trying to get it cleaned up, or and trying to yelling at the kids. And I was a mess. I was so unhappy and so down on myself and constantly beating myself up. Anybody ever felt like this? It's just like, I just don't want anybody to know. I mean, that would make it 20 times worse, right? That's where I was. But you know, I started thinking about it when I was this young woman, and I started thinking about it like, I've got to start somewhere. Any day can be day one. Any day. Any day can be the starting place. And I will say this, that doesn't mean that you're going to say, okay, it's day one. My life is now perfect. It's not going to be. It's not going to correct and clean up a relationship that's a mess. It's not going to make everything great in your little homeschooling. It's not going to fix everything. But it can give you this feeling of, you know what? I can do one thing. I can fill up my water bottle and hydrate myself. I can do that. Or maybe I'm going to put on some music, tell the kids it's time to dance, and we're going to all clean up together. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm just going to say, hey, you know what, you guys, turn on a movie. Mama's going to go take a bath and just disappear for a minute. But the point that I'm trying to make is that awareness is the thing that we need to have. It's the thing that brings us back to the center of who we really are. You can't fake it. You can't fake it and keep wearing a mask and keep pretending, because it will catch up to you. And one day everything crumbles. Everything falls apart. A foolish woman tears down her house with her own hands. And I believe what that foolishness is that she's not doing anything toward building what it is that she wants. Nothing. She just expects somehow things are going to be different. That expectation isn't meeting what's happening on the ground, right? You can, all you want to say, hey, let's just, bippity boppity boo, there you go. Does it work that way? How about a little fairy dust, a little something? No, it doesn't. Let's get into some practical terms then. If you're going to go buy a house, what are you going to do? When you go buy a house, do you just buy a house and say, well, I'll just take your word for it that these are where the lot lines are? Or do you have a survey done? Has anybody ever done that? We did. We bought a house in December. When we did, we got a survey, and the survey had lot lines. They're actually bring surveyors out, and they tie things around trees, and they make the lines. They show you exactly where everything is. We need that. When's the last time you did a survey of your life? And not in the way so that you can beat yourself up, but just so you can see clearly, this is where I am. Clearly, this is it. These are my boundaries. This is what I know. This is what I need to have. That's right. Survey and an inspection. Exactly, Darla. That's good. Day one that's one of the first things that you do. You order the inspection. You order the survey. You'll also order an appraisal for its worth. And I will tell you, if you're ordering your appraisal, you know who to talk to about your appraisal, don't you? You are appraised. You are worth more than diamonds and pearls. The good book tells us that. What is your worth? It's above all things. Your worth is already established. You are enough, right as you are. But if you're buying a piece of land to build a property, you're going to want to know certain things like where everything is so you can get your house exactly where you want. And if wisdom's going to be building your house, and you're not going to be foolishly going in there and tearing it down, if wisdom builds your house, then there's some things that you need to do. All right? When you put your boundaries up, by the way, when you have your boundaries in place, this is how you know what to do next, because this is where your fence is going to go. Your fence is going to go right there on that boundary line. You can't put it a foot into your neighbor's property. You will hear about it. You will have to take that fence down. You will have to bring it over to where it is that you belong, right into where you are. When I lived in Weddington years and years ago, I bought a house that was brand new. It was a spec house, and I bought it. And then, of course, you know how those houses are. They throw some sod in the front yard, and then the backyard's a big mud puddle. And I had, we were really lucky. We were on a green, open field, and behind the tree, big open field, and behind the tree line was this little creek. Sometimes the creek would rise, we'd get a little wet into our yard, but it was just, that's where it was. Now, next door to us, this couple had this humongous German Shepherd. He was came from Germany and didn't like our dog. Our dog was Little David. Little David was a plot hound and a golden retriever, a Labrador retriever blend. So he stood taller than a regular Labrador retriever and had brindling in his legs. He was black and he was just a beautiful dog and sweet as anything, protective about the kids, protective about me. He was just, he was the gentle giant of our household. Well, that dog next door hated us. And so, I did not like it. You know how it is when you have the tension of having, well, I don't have to explain it. You guys know, you've seen this when you've had the tension of having a dog in your neighborhood that's not the best. So I built my fence 2 feet from their place. They said they were going to build a fence too. Well, the day that they were building their fence, they came out and they were starting to put their fence right along mine. And I came out and said, no, brought my survey with me and showed them, this is my property right here. I'm just choosing to put my fence 2 feet in. So there's a buffer zone between my fence and your fence. That was the boundary that I put up. I put it up because I wanted to make sure that I had calm in my home. I wanted to make sure that my dog wasn't going to go berserk over the dog next door, but that property was mine. And they didn't have the right to build their fence over on mine. Do you see where I'm going with this exhaustive metaphor here? Sometimes we need to do that. We need to move our boundaries and keep them in the place where we can keep peace in our lives. Is it exactly the way it needs to be? Sometimes no. Sometimes you need to move your boundary. And that's what I did to keep the peace in my home. But, what boundaries do, the boundaries are, they determine what belongs to whom. That's what boundaries do. They determine what belongs to whom, where our thing ends and another person's begins. And this is important for us as we're going forward. If we're going to declare today to be day one, we got to start with a boundary. Because as you make a survey and an inspection of your whole property here, as you get ready to build, and if you're going to be wise about it, it's really important that those boundaries are put in place, and they're put in place by you. They're put in place by you, what makes you comfortable. Like I said, I could have extended that boundary 2 feet because that property was mine. I chose to make a buffer zone. Have you ever had to choose to make a buffer zone in your life? I think it's wisdom right there. I think it's wisdom. And I had to explain to my neighbors again, had to explain to their fence people, had to say, everybody put down their tools. This is what it is. This is the blueprint. This is why I did it this way. All right? We have the opportunity to do that at any point. Now, what about laying a foundation, right? If you are building your house, and hopefully you're the wise woman building your house, if you're going to build it, then you're going to need a foundation. And in a relationship, what is a foundation built on? It's built on mutual respect. It's built on appreciation. It's built on trust and commitment. That's what it is when it's any kind of a relationship. And I'm going to throw out a biggie here. Do you have this kind of a relationship with yourself? Are you committed to the life that you want to live? Do you trust yourself to make good decisions? And what about respect? You have some self-respect going on there? And do you appreciate everything that your life is, even the rough stuff? What about this? This is hard, but this is foundational. And if we can be in this place of trusting ourselves to make good decisions, of committing to the life that we want to live, and if we can say that we have self-respect and actual appreciation for who we are in our journey, because in the journey and in the building, this is where the adventure is. Because there's going to be at the very end, when everything's said and done and you've built the house and you've gotten through everything and what have you, there's going to come a time where you're just going to go, well, that was done. What's next? We get a dopamine hit, by the way, from being on the journey and appreciation for accomplishing their goal for today. I felt really good about myself today when I got through and did everything. I started my meditation, got my journaling done, got my exercise in. And then I was like, I don't have enough time to wash my hair. And my hair frizzed out in the shower and was like this curly crazy. So I said, we'll just go with that. You know what? I appreciate the fact that I'm going to show up here I'm going to be sort of on time. I was a little bit late today, and you're still going to be here for me. And it doesn't matter. My hair isn't the point. The fact is showing up is the point. Showing up for yourself. And then the third thing that you're going to have in place too are walls. If you are building a home, you're going to have walls. Have you heard of open concept, right? Well, open concept is fine to a degree, and we want open concept. It's familiar. It's lovely. Our kitchen opens up into our living room, and there's a wall between our dining room and our living room, and I want to take that down. That's coming down. In the next phase of stuff that we're going to take that wall down, because opening it up will give it a better flow. But my bathroom has walls and a door. Do you want your bathroom to have walls and a door? Because there are certain things that need to be private, right? I want to sleep in a room and have my privacy. Everybody does. You want that certain thing. That's what happens when we put up walls. But when we put up walls unnecessarily, they can become imprisonment. When we put up walls and don't let people in, that's prison. When we let people in and we are allowing and a little bit more vulnerable, we don't need walls for that. We need grace. And we need the ability to be a wise woman to see that if we're going to be building our home, then we have to understand what that entails, what that means, where the walls go and where they don't. Because walls can be a place of belonging, a place, or they can be imprisonment or division. We have a choice on how we do that. We have a choice. And then the fourth one is your roof. We all need protection from the elements. We need protection from life's storms. We need a roof over our head. It is just the tantamount protection metaphor, isn't it? We're protected. We're not getting rained on or snowed on. We can close the door. We can shut the windows, and that roof is protecting us. We can't, if we shut the windows and close the doors, and yet there's no roof, that's not going to do any good, is it? So that roof is everything, and it's protection, and it's over the whole top of us. And when we allow for that protectiveness, what I see that as God. God protects us. He loves us. He cares for us. And he's over the whole entirety of our houses when we allow him to. That protection's there. We just need to ask for it. And number 5 is the last one, and that's decorating. Because once that house is built, you have the opportunity to turn it into what you want. Who you are is going to show up in your decorating. I've been noticing my house is too beige. I've got white walls, beige furniture. It's safe. But I'm going to throw some color in there. I'm going to get some new pillows or some new pillow shams. By the way, I will tell you, if you want to get pillows are expensive. But if you use your old pillows and buy pillow shams, which they have a bazillion of on Amazon, and they're cheap, that's the way to do it. So you can change the whole look of your room with just that, and maybe a couple of colorful throws, some colorful art on the wall. There you are. Maybe paint an accent wall. And if, push comes to shove, you get somebody who is has a expert eye, a designer or interior designer. We happen to have one in our family. Mark's daughter, Leah, is an award-winning interior designer. But that's your reflection of your home. Yeah, Lily, me too, bohemian style. I'm a little bohemian classic and a little something else. But I love pom-poms. I have pillows on my bed with great big huge pom-poms. Anytime you can throw some pom-poms on me, I love pom-poms. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's like fringe. I don't know. But my personality shows up and has some classical lines, but I'm also open to learning and seeing some new things when it comes to decorating and design. We all like to think that we have an eye, but when we put everything together, does it work? And this is the whole thing. We get to create our own aesthetic once that house is built. And a wise woman knows that that's part of loving yourself is decorating your home, and same with yourself, have a little respect, do your hair, put a little lipstick on, go get your nails done like Jenny. She got pumpkins on her nails and everything. There's so much that we can do to show that we're building our house. We're not tearing it down with our own hands. You are the contractor ultimately. And if you want to move a wall or move a fence or do something to redefine the boundaries of your home, you can certainly do that. If there's something else that you see that's just not right and it doesn't feel right, you can say, I want to open up that wall. We have the ability to do this. We have the ability to do this in our lives as well. There's our girl, Sue and Jerry. You see how important this is? You get to create your own life. You're the one who gets to. And when we start standing back a little bit and just making decisions to build our house with wisdom, then we're going to stop the foolishness of tearing it down with our own hands. But to do so, we need to take the place, our rightful place, of being the contractor of our own lives. Let's keep building. What do you think? I'm all for it. Peace be with you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.